this week we're doing another weekly plan with me, and this is the week before last in June. As always, I start out by making the columns on the sidebar bolder for my date specific tasks. And actually, this week I made a little mistake because usually I want to put a little space between each of the highlighted columns so that it's clearer. But here I just forgot to keep that in mind, so it just ended up being one big blob. And so I had to make every other column bolder to make it, a little more distinct. But back in the monthly section, I just noted down an event that was coming up at the end of the week, and then I start migrating items from this coming week to the sidebar here and marking which day they're assigned to in the columns themselves. This is a pretty busy week, so in the coming days, I actually start to run out of room in the sidebar, and I extended my, let's say, date specific section to the bottom half of my first dated column. So the column that's supposed to be my first project category that I'm filling out here. That project ended up not having too many items, so I just utilized the bottom half for more date specific items. And I've also decided to only use my latest gray Tombow, and that's in the color. Let me see if I can actually find the exact color name, since they're all numbers and I can never remember them. Right, that's N79, and as some of you may know, I've had this ongoing trouble with identifying open tasks and completed ones because they're not distinct enough, since I only put a cross through the circle when I'm done with an item. What I've discovered is actually making a bigger dot with my Tombow brush pen makes it clearer, which is like such a simple and stupid solution, but that's basically what I started doing. I just use my lightest gray Tombow brush pen and make the dot bigger, and it's so much easier now for me to at a glance see if a task is open or completed. And as usual here, I am migrating open or unfinished tasks from the week previous into this one, and some new items as well that have come up. I actually had not a slow week previously, but one where I didn't get too much done, not as much as I would have liked anyway. So I had a lot of things to migrate to this week, so I started off with quite a few tasks already in mind to finish for the week, and you can definitely see that here with all of the tasks that I'm migrating, way more than I usually would. I also this week have finally kind of accepted that I'm having a lot of trouble with my Sarasa gel pen. So I'm just using the regular Sarasa gel pen in 0.7 in black. And I guess it turns out that people have been having trouble with this ink, with this pen, because it's so inconsistent and it's not as, juicy as it usually is. Like the whole reason that I picked up the Sarasa gel pen in the first place. I think the first time that I heard about it is in Caitlin Gray's video here on YouTube. And she mentioned that lots of people have been having trouble with it, which sucks that now I totally notice it, and it really bugs me because I get really impatient and I want to write much quicker than the ink is flowing right now. And the funny thing is my Sarasa dry gel pen feels fine, like it feels really nice. So if anyone knows if this is just a problem with the regular Sarasa pen, And if the straws are dry, it's fine, and I should just, stick to that and stop using my straws as gel pen. It's kind of a bummer because I have a lot of refills and I want to, use them up. But at this point, it's gone so bad that and my handwriting is completely screwed up because of this problem. And it's not nice. I hate it, especially because I do a lot of writing in my reading journal, and that's like long form writing. So I really need a pen that's comfortable. And this one has, really bothered me, and my hand is cramping up, which sounds like a different problem, but honestly, it really is thick. Um, I have also started this week, well, continued this week, to putting the page count numbers of the books that I'm reading um, on the top, right under the dates in each column here on the weekly spread. And you'll see that later in the finished spread at the end of the week, which I will show you as always. But what I started doing also is marking them with colors with the brush pen to mark, if I'm continuing a certain book throughout the week, then they'll be marked with the same Tombow brush pen color. But if I'm reading two different books, I can see like which page numbers are which book, which is super helpful for tracking, my page counts, which I have started doing in a graph in one of the back pages of the Cousin, which I will probably show you later as well at the end of the week. And for this week, I have divided my columns into different projects as always, but this time I've got 3 projects in 3 different columns, and then 1 column for correspondence, which I've mentioned before is usually when I have to keep track of, following up with certain people that I work on projects with. And then I have 2 columns on miscellaneous, which is just chores and, ad hoc tasks that doesn't really fall into any of the projects, and 1 more for a different project. So I'll show you how this all looks at the end of the week. So it's the end of the week on Sunday, and this is how the weekly spread is looking. Let's take this off for now. And as you can see, this is where I extended my date-specific section so that I can have more events and notes. There are some medical notes here that I originally wanted to fit up here, but they wouldn't quite fit all together with the page numbers, so I was noting them down here instead. And that's why I needed more space, along with some additional events that I wasn't anticipating to have this week. But yeah, so up here I have added page numbers for the books that I'm reading, and as you can see, some of them are marked with Tombow brush pens, and like I said, this is to show the books that I've continued. So these page numbers are of the same book that I read over 2 days, and these are all different books, so I didn't mark them at all. So I didn't mistake them for books that I've continued. And this is another book that I plan to read across multiple weeks, and that's why I've marked it with this color. I marked that book in previous weeks as well. Maybe you can see that here. But I did make the mistake of not using the same colors sometimes. For example, let's see. I think it was this purple color that originally was blue, and I just need to keep in mind to keep those colors consistent throughout the week so that this system is actually functional. I hope that makes some sense. Definitely let me know if you have any questions or you want just a video maybe on my reading journal and how I'm using it across the Cousin. But I use those page numbers to track my daily page count, and I am tracking it here in the back pages. So some of you may know, but I've had trouble with, deciding what to use these pages for, but at least for the graph paper, I've decided to use it to track my pages read each day for every month. So each line represents 1 month, and this is my June line, and this is this is May, and this is June. So we're here right now. I don't think I've marked yesterday's yet, but usually I don't really have time to do it every day. That's why I have these numbers here, because it's easier to just mark what pages I left the book on, and then say at the end of the week I have some spare time, and I start figuring out what this means for the pages read each day. But yeah, Sunday has not ended yet. I still have quite a few things to do. I have a thing I have to do tonight, so there are still a couple events that I still haven't done. And let's actually go to the monthly section to show you what it looks like at the end of the week. So here we go. The habit tracker is looking pretty nice, I think. I'm really liking this. I love how clean it is compared to, my previous months where I was still doing a weekly focus. And this week I did much better with habits than I did last week. I've been having a pretty okay week, and it has been pretty busy. So there's a lot of things in the calendar itself. As usual, this is the dot sticker that shows me which day I'm on, because I'm weirdly really bad at keeping that in mind. And I've just added this yellow one to mark a certain cleaning chores that I usually do monthly, but I always forget like when I did it last month. And it's really important to me that I don't know, I like to keep in mind when I do it so that next month I can think about doing it around the same time. So I've also done that for the past months, because I do usually note that down in the date itself, but it's hard to actually find it since it's just like one cleaning task. So it's not like a particularly big item when you're looking at it at a glance. But yeah, so that's what I use the yellow dot sticker for. The yellow, I thought at first, was like annoyingly easy to ignore, but for something like this where it's not like super imperative that it sticks out, it's just like when I look for it I can find it. That's really really useful. So I'm glad I added that this week, and that I added it in previous months as well. I'm sure future me will really appreciate that. But yeah, I took off the the bookmark, so wasn't sure where that weekly pages are. But there we go. That's what my weekly spread looks like at the end of the week. And I hope you enjoyed this weekly plan with me. This is a pretty good week for me, I think. So maybe that shows a little in my cousin. And definitely let me know if you have any questions, if you have any tips, advice on the whole Srasa pen debacle, or any part of my system. Let me know if you guys use anything in your cousin in a similar way, whether it be to track page numbers, date specific items, whatever it is. I'm so curious how different people use their cousins, because it's so versatile. But yeah, thank you so much, and I hope you enjoyed this.